Let's stay with the story and bring in Dr. Michael Masiapato, Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, to unpack preparations for the Easter weekend. Dr. Masiapato, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. So we've just been hearing now from our reporter at the Beitbridge border post. We know, of course, how busy that border can get, but there's also a number of others in the country, including, of course, Libombo border. Just give us a sense then, in terms of a national picture, in terms of your preparations for this Easter weekend.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Unati, and we really appreciate this opportunity as the Border Management Authority. Yes, indeed, the BMA is very much ready to be able to handle the volume of travelers throughout the entire, country across the various ports. So what we have also done, Unati, is to send all of our executive leadership across all the critical ports to be able to support the operations on the ground. So, for instance, I am here at Libombo, port of entry into Mozambique. Deputy Commissioner for Operations is there in Beitbridge, and she's obviously with the regional commander for the northern region, and the other colleagues are in Groblersdal Bridge to Botswana, as well as other teams being even in airports such as OR Tambo International, together with Cape Town International, as well as Kinshasa in Durban. In terms of the seaports, we have fairly looked at Durban Port as well as Durban Harbour as well as Cape Town Harbour. So we can fairly indicate that we are very much confident that we will be able to facilitate all of the people that are seeking to exit South Africa. And of course, we will be able to process them as they are returning, particularly from Sunday and Monday. So everything from where we are sitting, we are very much confident that is going according to plan.
And this weekend will probably be the biggest test yet for the BMA, in terms of how well your new technology that was recently introduced will help in enhancing, border security and management, including, of course, the drone technology. Perhaps let's start with you just giving us your traffic readiness levels using that particular technology.
Yeah, so Unati, when it comes to technology, you will remember that during December, January festive period, we did pilot some of the drones, but those ones at the time were fairly from the Department of Agriculture. So you are very much right, Unati, that in this particular Easter period, we are then deploying our own drones as the Border Management Authority together with our own body cams. So we can indicate that they have been very much helpful. You will remember that we have started actually yesterday in terms of running these particular operations. So here in Libombo, for instance, just to give a practical example, we've been able to facilitate around 16,400 people yesterday. And out of that particular number, around 8,000 were exiting South Africa and around 8,400 were coming into the country. But in terms of the drones in particular, they actually assisted us in terms of corridor management, particularly in this period when we deal with the people exiting the country. So in this particular instance, we deployed them on the corridor. We made sure that the cars on the corridor don't create some kind of a congestion or some kind of disorder. We do maintain the lane for the trucks, the lane for the small vehicles, for the taxis, and on that particular basis, everything has been fairly compliant. We have also been able to deal with issues of criminal activities on the corridor, where people will go into trucks and try to, for example, your petrol and all of those diesel from the trucks. So on that basis, all of those issues had been fairly mitigated, and we are very much confident. In terms of the body cams, Unati, they are very much helpful. We monitor the activities of all the border guards as they do the work in the port, but also those that are working in the field, that is in the vulnerable segments. And we communicate with them through the control center, wherein we are able to direct them where there is illegality happening or people trying to enter the country illegally. So up to this point, Unati, we are very much happy that the plan is implemented, and of course the technology is assisting in the manner that it's supposed to.
I mean, I don't want to go into the technicalities of some of, the equipment or the technology that you're using, but I mean, it is impressive. We understand, of course, it's powered by AI, artificial intelligence. Perhaps just give us a sense in terms of how, you get the information. Is it in real time? We understand, of course, some of these drones can detect activity of up to 15 kilometers, even further for some of, some of those drones.
Yes, indeed, Unati. We are doing live work. We did have some of your colleagues earlier, in the environment, and they were able to observe this particular activity. So what basically happens, Unati, is that in the control room here at Libombo, and by the way, it's also happening in other ports. It's just that I'm talking about Libombo because I'm here. But what basically happens is that the drones, as we put them on the air, they are able to then look at the activities in the corridor, look at the activities on the vulnerable segments. And then what happens is, as soon as they pick up individuals, or the drone picks up individuals on the vulnerable segments trying to enter the country illegally or so, then it is able to zoom those particular individuals. So the strategy we are using, and by the way, we don't have to even keep this secret per se, because our work is also about deterrent, is that we focus on what we call facilitators. And what we do with the facilitators, Unati, we actually get them arrested. We don't deport facilitators. We take them to a police station. In this instance, we take them to Komati Port and we charge them for aiding and abetting according to Section 49 of the Immigration Act. And what basically happens is the colleagues that are on the ground who are wearing body cams, we are able to direct them as per the data that comes from the drones, through which we are able to make sure they go specifically to a particular area using the coordinates and, of course, AI, as you have indicated, to be able to get those people intercepted. Just yesterday, as a typical example, 36 individuals here were arrested with the help of the same drones, as it were. And today we continue to arrest a lot of them, and tomorrow we should be able to give the statistics of how many we've been able to arrest throughout the day.
You obviously on one end of the border management at Libombo, but you will be returning to Beitbridge. I mean, Beitbridge it has been of concern for many years now, being one of the biggest inland ports. So just give us the rationale in terms of why then that deployment in terms of resources. So you go back there when traffic is also going to be escalating, when the worshippers or travelers return back into Gauteng particularly, or other countries, of course, into Limpopo, from Zimbabwe. Just give us a sense then in terms of what are your expectations there, when the holiday period is over per se.
Yeah, you see, Unati, in terms of the deployment of the leadership of the BMA across the ports, we fairly use a risk modeling and be able to indicate that this is an area where we have a problem of this nature, and that is how we then determine the deployment. Typical example, during the exit leg, which is this current leg where we are, Libombo has always been problematic in terms of the corridor, in terms of the disorder that has been here, but also has been problematic in terms of the protest on the Mozambican side. So on that basis, that is why I'm here for the exit. And you are very much right, Unati, on Sunday as well as Monday, I will be in Beitbridge for the return. And in the return leg, Beitbridge becomes the biggest problem. And the reason why it is the biggest problem is because we are not only dealing with the Zimbabweans, but we are dealing with the people from the rest of the continent. So we do have people coming from Malawi, Namibia, DRC, and the like. So when some of the people, when they get to the port, they avoid coming to the port, they go to the vulnerable segments on the borderline. And that is why we are going to intensify the work that side, particularly on the vulnerable segments, working together with members of the SANDF to be able to identify the facilitators, get them arrested, but also arrest the people that they are facilitating and make sure that they are effectively deported and not be allowed to enter the country illegally. So indeed, Beitbridge is very problematic. When it comes to the return, it is one of the biggest challenges an illegal migration point of view.
All right, Dr. Masiapato, thank you so much for your time. Dr. Michael Masiapato is the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, just giving us a sense there in terms of their readiness and preparation for the Easter weekend. Earlier, hearing from our reporter Koketso Mutao at the Beitbridge border post, of course, also monitoring developments there. The BMA saying that it has enough boots on the ground this weekend.